Have you ever watched a crime show like CSI or Law and Order? While they do not exactly match what real life is like, they do give us an idea of how people solve crimes. The people who solve crimes on shows like those are called forensic scientists. Meet John. He is a forensic scientist. A forensic scientist analyzes physical evidence from a crime scene to help solve crimes. Examples of physical evidence include hair, fingerprints, unknown liquids or powders, or broken glass. Right now, John works in a laboratory for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, also called the FBI. The FBI is a national intelligence and law enforcement agency. People who work for the FBI help protect the United States from many different types of crimes. Today, the FBI is starting a large investigation on a series of robberies that occurred at 35 Apple stores across the U.S. The FBI is investigating this robbery because it occurred across multiple states and resulted in over $1 million of products stolen. John's team will be trying to identify suspects who stole MacBook Airs, iPhones, and Apple Watches. John and his colleague Christopher will analyze fingerprints from each store. Fingerprints can be anywhere that a suspect touched, like door handles or iPads. Fingerprints can be used to identify someone because they are unique to each person. Identical twins don't even have the same fingerprint pattern. Also, a person's fingerprints do not change over time as they age. John and his team will carry out chemical tests on the latent fingerprints found on the technology. Latent fingerprints cannot be seen with the human eye and are left on a surface from the oils on a person's fingers. These fingerprints cannot be seen unless a chemical is added to them to make them visible. First, John will spray a chemical called 9-hydrin onto a laptop. 9-hydrin reacts with the oils from someone's skin by turning a deep purple color. If there is a latent fingerprint, the chemical will react and make the fingerprint visible. Then John will analyze the fingerprints. Before the chemical was sprayed, the fingerprint was invisible. After the chemical was sprayed, the oils in the fingerprint turned purple. The color change from clear to purple indicates that a chemical reaction has occurred. In this case, the chemical reaction is between the oils in the culprit's fingerprint and the 9-hydrin. A chemical reaction occurs when the structure of atoms that make a substance are rearranged and a new product is formed, turning the fingerprints purple. Next, John looks through the National Fingerprint Database to compare the fingerprints he found with known criminals. The National Fingerprint Database is a system that keeps a record of people's fingerprints. If John can find someone in the system who has the same fingerprints that were found on the MacBook, it can lead the police to finding their suspect. After anxiously awaiting for the database to load information, a match pops up. The fingerprints appear to belong to a woman who is a suspect for stealing other types of electronics across the country. John will type up a report of his results and share the information with the police detectives who are working on the case. What kinds of crimes would you want to solve if you worked for the FBI? Talk about this after the video as a class. Now it's your turn to go on an adventure and be a forensic scientist.